So I hoped to be able to use these videos as the video newsletter, as I mentioned before, and of course things are always crazy busy, and now I'm throwing something together because in just a few days I'll be moving back to Hawaii to work on Flight 29 Down, the third and final installment of this series. I'm super excited about it, can't wait to get back there. Actually, don't have to wait very long. As I've said, the cast and crew, I've never had more fun working with these guys. But yeah, so what I was hoping to do with my next newsletter, video newsletter thing, was to kind of get caught up from where I left off. And where I first left off was back in about 2003, I think it was, when I was just moving to Hawaii for the first time. And I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version, hopefully cover everything and bring it all back up to speed. So I moved out to Hawaii to work with a documentary company. Did 2 documentaries out there. They were awesome. The documentaries are fantastic. The job wasn't. So then I moved on and I worked on a movie called Tides of War. And it's the first official real movie I worked on. I started earning my jobs as a PA to go into the Directors Guild Union. And I was first hired as a producer's assistant, and I shot the behind-the-scenes video for it. And it wasn't long before I did get kind of absorbed into the production team, and was a production assistant. And this film starred Adrian Paul, Highlander, Catherine Dent from The Shield, and Matthew St. Patrick from 6 Feet Under, and it was directed by Brian Trechard Smith, who was a blast to work with, and he's actually one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite directors. After that, season 1 of Flight 29 Down started. I ended up coming back to Chicago after that one finished because things were kind of slowing down in Hawaii a little bit. And the first thing that was shooting in Chicago when I got back was The Lake House. At the time it was called Mare. It's the Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock movie that came out at the beginning of 2006. And at that point, most of my contacts, or almost all of them, were in Hawaii, and I didn't really have anything in Chicago. So I couldn't get onto it as a PA, as a production assistant. So, well, I thought I have to get onto the set still, somehow. So I took a job as an extra for a day. And in one day, I did as much networking and handshaking as I could, that by the end of it, somebody did pass along my resume, and I did get to start working on that one as a PA. I only worked a handful of days because it was towards the end of the shoot, but I got on it, which was what I had hoped for, and it actually played out the way I wanted. Through the course of that year, it was a pretty fun one. I did extra work on Let's Go to Prison, which is jumped in and out of theaters within a month, but it was a fun one with Dax Shepard and Will Arnett. I don't know, it didn't do very well in theaters at all. It made less than $5 million, but hopefully they'll still put together a fun DVD, a good DVD, solid. But yes, I was one of the inmates in that, and you can see me and my friends in a handful of shots, including Jeff Lord, John Champion, Nick Lord, Matt Schnitzius, all but the last one was an actor in Anna Introducing Brian. But anyway, back to PA work. I got to work on Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell and Maggie Gyllenhaal. That one was an awesome set to be on. It was really a lot of fun. And of course, I'm very happy with the movie too. I'm happy with how it turned out. So hopefully you guys saw it. If you didn't, it'll be out on DVD probably in about 2 months. So start looking for it, because it's definitely worth the rental and worth the purchase. Prison Break was going on. I worked on that off and on. I day played on that one throughout the year. In the middle of working on Prison Break, I got a call to come back out to Hawaii, where I worked on a movie called The Killing of John Lennon. It's an independent film. It had a small but reasonable, it was a professional budget still. Because it was so small and a lot of it was rushed, it was a very difficult one. It was also my first time getting an official job as an assistant director. So I probably put a little too much stress and made it a little tougher on myself than it needed to be. So it was definitely taxing to get through this one. But in the end, from what I hear, it's turned out very nice, very good. I know it's gotten good reviews from Variety, and yeah, so we'll see. I have not seen the film yet, but fingers are crossed that it was worth all the headaches and stress that I definitely did get from it. Plus, what else I got from it was I got to meet George Russell, a really great first AD out in Hawaii, and Diane Frontals, who's a script supervisor extraordinaire. She's phenomenal. And I got to know Susan Harris better, who's somebody I had met on Tides of War, but I really got to know her a lot better and bond with her through this trying ordeal. But overall, it's, in the long run, it was a good thing. It was just very tough at the time. So after the Killing of John Lennon, I came back and I picked up a few more days on prison break before it was finished for the year. But really, it's at this point that I started working on and introducing Brian. We went through an initial casting that, actually I first put a Craigslist posting out just to see what kind of a response, if any, we would get. And I was thinking that if we got about 5 people with headshots that actually were serious about auditioning, that I'd be very happy with that. And that was just as a shot in the dark, just to test the water a little bit. And what we ended up getting was 70 plus, and they were from different states and people that were willing to drive in and put themselves up in hotels. And that's when I realized how great of a town Chicago is to make a movie in, because there's so much talent. It's such a big city, and there's not that many places for these people to work yet, which sucks, first off. However, for a filmmaker, it's nice, because you get a lot for very little. We made this movie. The movie, we made it only to be a demo reel for one of our actors, and as myself as a director, and as Chris Pry as a writer. We wanted a little short thing to put together for a demo reel, just something to show people. But suddenly we had this huge influx of great talent that wanted to work with us, and we took a moment and said, wow, we actually owe it to these people and owe it to this project now that it's matured and grown up, that we need to put a lot into it and make something great out of it. So what we were going to try to rush together, we took our time with and wrote it bigger. It's a feature film, and we shot it in high definition. And we're just going to go as big and as professional as we could. And we ended up getting an assistant director out of Los Angeles who the first thing she had ever worked on was the Italian Job. Her name is Jennifer Kennedy. I met her on The Killing of John Lennon. But she did a Jerry Bruckheimer pilot, and then she worked on The Holiday, which is out now with Cameron Diaz and Jack Black, and more people. But she worked on those two and then came to Chicago to work on our movie. And we ended up getting Travis Cameron, who's somebody I worked on 29 Down with, to fly out from Hawaii with his high-definition camera to shoot, and we ended up doing a 2-camera shoot, high-definition cameras, very good cameras, ones that have gotten a lot of praise from the directors of photography of 24.